This is your source for breaking news and what to make of it all. This is the Mike Gallagher Show.
This bill is impossible to believe that somebody actually negotiated. And he's a very nice guy. Yeah. James is a very nice guy. But this is not a good thing for him.
Republican leadership ended up benefiting Chuck Schumer and the Democrats and doing nothing to secure the border.
Senator Ted Cruz said this bill was designed to fail and that it's time for you to step down as GOP leader.
I think we can all agree that Senator Cruz is not a fan.
Now, from the ReliefFactor.com studios, here's Mike Gallagher.
Remember the movie Network starring the late Peter Finch? He played a TV anchor who became unhinged. And there's a famous scene where he encourages everybody to stick their heads out of the window and say, "I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore." That's how I'm feeling today. Maybe it's because I was up real late last night trying to fend off the hundreds and hundreds of furious emails I was getting from people who think I'm the congressman from Wisconsin. I mean, my phone starts blowing up, and my staff is scrambling, and my team is saying, "Mike, you're not going to believe this. People think you're Wisconsin Congressman Mike Gallagher, who stupidly decided to give the Democrats a giant gift-wrapped Christmas present by partnering with two other congressmen so three Republicans could defeat the effort to impeach the impeachable Alejandro Mayorkas." So people somehow think I'm him. And people are writing me, and most from Wisconsin, incidentally, and they are beyond livid. Every time Republicans have a chance to hold the other side accountable, we fall flat on our face. And I am so fired up about this today. And I promise it's not just that I'm annoyed that people have me confused with the Wisconsin congressman. I don't even know how that happens. My email address is ported through the show website. So you go to Mike Online, you ought to see my X account right now. I mean, the threats and the obscenities and the anger is being directed to me on my X account, which is called @RadioTalkerMike. People think this congressman, who's got this dopey, misguided view that he doesn't want to set a bad precedent by impeaching somebody we disagree with. Oh, really? Where were you during the Trump impeachments? They set the precedent. We didn't. But here's what's wild. You got to go through my website, MikeOnline.com, which is all about me being a talk show host. And the guests I have, and the blogs, and the podcast, and Salem News Channel. It's all at MikeOnline.com. You see that you've got my picture up there. And yet, hundreds, I stopped counting at about 600 emails, all of them raging against me because they think I'm the Wisconsin congressman who, along with Ken Buck from Colorado and McClintock from California, voted against impeaching Mayorkas. Three of them. Now, incidentally, there's literally four, but the whole thing about the fourth one was more of a procedural vote. The fourth vote, no, was actually procedurally to keep the thing alive and to have another shot at it next week. So there were only three. There's only three of them. Gallagher, McClintock, and Buck. They're the ones who betrayed the American people. They're the ones who want to play nice with the Democrats. They're the ones who thoroughly embarrassed Mike Johnson and Marjorie Taylor Greene. And it's beyond infuriating. Every one of us ought to be mad as hell. And guess what? Vote them all out. If a Republican doesn't know how to act like a Republican, get rid of them, primary them. Listen, I don't want to get personal against people like Mike Gallagher of Wisconsin. He's great on China. Stick to China. How about putting America first once in a while? And yes, I answered every one of the emails that came into my show screaming at me for voting not to impeach Mayorkas, saying, "You got the wrong Mike Gallagher." It actually kind of turned into some comedy last night because it was crazy. And Twitter blew up, X blew up. Here's what's weird about X, incidentally. Somebody lovingly and jokingly said, well, Mike, with all this attention you're getting with being the wrong Mike Gallagher, you're going to get a ton of new followers. And I did. I could see people, it kept scrolling in. Hundreds of people started to follow me. But my count at the top of the page didn't move 1 inch. It didn't show one extra follower. I think Elon Musk has some work to do with maybe the infrastructure over at X. Maybe somebody who understands X better than I do can explain that to me. If I'm seeing hundreds and hundreds of people following me for the first time, shouldn't that be reflected in the follower count? And it wasn't at all. It never moved. So something's a little glitchy there. Anyway, what a wild 24 hours. These Republicans, they don't care about putting America first. They're worried about Ukraine. They're fixated on China. And Americans have had it. Americans are tired of watching this country burn. We're tired of establishment. Bye-bye, Ronna McDaniel. Good thing she's stepping down. She has failed dramatically in her position. And she has announced that after the South Carolina primary, she's done. Speaking of primaries, Seb Gorka posted something so comical on X, and it was pitch perfect. Seb wrote, I can't breathe. Nikki Haley lost a primary where she was the only named candidate. She was the only named candidate in Nevada, and she lost to none of the above. I know Mike Johnson got humiliated by Mike Gallagher and Buck and McClintock. You want to know who got really embarrassed last night? Poor Nikki Haley. I actually heard somebody on a radio show today call into the host and say, I'm voting for Trump in South Carolina. And the host actually said, oh, I don't know about that. There's a lot of Nikki Haley supporters in South Carolina. I almost wrecked the car. I was laughing so hard I couldn't see the road. I'm telling you, the establishment is not going to go down without a fight. But the establishment is dying on the vine. The uniparty has been called out, and Americans are fired up. We are fed up. We're mad as hell. We're not going to take it anymore. Our number is 800-655-MIKE. When you call me, please know you're not reaching the congressman from Wisconsin. You're reaching the big mouth on Salem News Channel and radio. You're talking to Mike Gallagher, the host, not Mike Gallagher, the congressman. I mean, and should I read some of them? I mean, first of all, I can't read a lot of them because of the language. I don't really want to read death threats. I stopped counting the death threats at about 20. Better keep your doors locked at night. And that posed a dilemma for me because I don't know whether to forward those. I mean, they are actual death threats. It was weird because even though they weren't threatening me, they were threatening me. I mean, the whole thing is a colossal mess. And for Gallagher, Buck, and McClintock to vote with the Dems on this Mayorkas impeachment thing, three Republican congressmen, and I have to tell you, maybe we'll play part of Congressman Gallagher's interview on Hewitt's show this morning. They're joking and laughing about it. It isn't funny. Nothing funny about this. This country is hurting, and we demand accountability. Mayorkas lied to the American people. Mayorkas promised a secure border. Mayorkas is derelict in his duties. Of course they need to impeach him. Of course he needs to be removed. Of course we need to know where Republicans stand. And there's three of them, Gallagher, Buck, and McClintock, who showed us where they stand. They stand with Democrats, and they stand with open borders. They stand with zero accountability for the other side. And I am as angry as I've been in a long... And this is just one part of the bad news 24 hours we've had. Trump, getting shot down by the D.C. Court of Appeals. I guess that isn't a surprise. I'm praying the Supreme Court comes to America's sanity and senses. They're not going to press any charges on the Joe Biden classified documents crime. Oh, no, of course they're not, because it's Joe Biden. They can go through Trump's wife's underwear drawer and raid Mar-a-Lago, but they're not going to hold Joe Biden accountable for having classified documents strewn all over the garage. We are becoming a country of two Americas. And it worries the heck out of me. And yes, I was troubled by the vitriol and the anger that I got in those emails last night because I know how angry people are. And it's not good. And it's not good. And those 3 Republican congressmen poured a lot of fuel on the fire with this idiotic vote against impeaching Mayorkas. It's beyond infuriating.